You know, I've made this observation before. The only two professions in America where you keep getting paid even when you're always wrong affect my life every day. Pollsters and weathermen.
Oh, come on. That was Chris Christie just moments ago on Weathermen. Hello and welcome back to Ronan Farrow Daily. We have today an appropriately weather-related story for you. Ugly conditions are pummeling much of the country today. Out in drought-ravaged California, the Bay Area is prepping with sandbags for heavy rain later today. Snow continues to blanket the East Coast, where Philadelphia is having its third snowiest winter on record. And check out this NASA image where you can only see 2 of the 5 Great Lakes. The others are too ice-covered. Joining me now to make sense of this is NBC News meteorologist Bill
I can't believe Christie's throwing me under the bus.
Come on, Bill. How does it make you feel? Your career is being denigrated.
I mean, usually they compare us to baseball players who are only, right 3 out of 10 times, but that's okay. So
he's not a fan of the weather.
Yes.
So, and many people aren't around the country now. Explain to us right now this term in headlines everywhere, on TV shows everywhere, polar vortex.
There's like 17 million references if you go to Google on it.
All over. So well, you're not happy about this. Why is that?
There's no one in this room that's been on a polar vortex. There's no one in the lower 48 that's been on a lower polar vortex. So the polar vortex, it started in January. We had the big cold outbreak, and somehow it just caught on. And a lot of meteorologists, even myself, I don't even remember studying it in college. I had to go back into the textbooks to figure out what it actually was. And it wasn't almost till the event was over with that we realized we were telling everyone the wrong thing. It's nothing that any of us have ever experienced.
So do you want to take a look at exactly what we're dealing with?
Yeah, let's try to explain it, to kind of debunk this.
Right, tell us what we're doing wrong here. Give us some science.
Everyone knows it's freezing right now. It's very, very cold all through the lower 48, especially up in the northern plains. But today's location of the polar vortex is up here by the North Pole. It has nothing to do with what we're dealing with down here. And the big key to what the polar vortex, the technical meaning is, it happens between 20 and 40,000 feet. That's where the jets fly. That's the top of Mount McKinley in Alaska. No one's up here. So the polar vortex is not affecting anyone. It can send cold air in different directions. Think of it almost like a traffic cop. And that's the only way. It doesn't really affect the surface, though. And just to give you another example, here's the map. This shows you the colors where all the cold is right now. Typical Siberia through the North Pole, Canada, and down here into the U.S. It's not even under the polar vortex. It doesn't anything. What happens at the surface? So
that's where we have to go for the polar vortex.
This is the surface. Yeah. So in other words,
so this is just bad reporting that we're saying polar vortex all the time.
It's horrible because so many people now believe it. So
if it's not a polar vortex, what is this? Explain the science.
Well, it's an extreme jet stream pattern, which going into climate change, people are starting to think that this is going to be happening more and more. We have just this huge ridge, what we call in the west, which has much of Canada way warmer, and this huge dip over the east. This is atypical. About once every 30 years, they say this time of year, we get something like this. So these are the extremes that we're dealing with, not so much something called a polar vortex.
And how does this fit into the climate change discussion?
Well, these events, singular events, don't mean anything to the climate change. If we start adding these up, and we have more and more every year, more of these extreme events, that's what the climatologists are saying will be happening more often with a warming planet. More extreme events, more extreme jet streams. So just because it's extremely cold doesn't mean we're not getting global warming or climate change.
So friendly reminder, one data point, not a pattern, but could be part of that larger pattern.
And just to make you and everyone else happy, we got another snowstorm coming Sunday, Monday across the country.
All right, an impromptu forecast from NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns. Thank you for helping us clarify that misnomer.